what we're talking about is the right to resist law that is getting ready to be passed, I guess, in the state legislature, which basically just spells out that you have the right to resist a police officer if he or she is doing something illegal. There's a lot of vague parts to it, and there's I had John Bunchy sitting in Dave Nellum's chair there, and he was just all over this, that there's going to be people that are going to take that as almost a call to arms, and that he was very worried about the safety of his own police officers, and I'm sure that you guys are talking about it too.
Sure. Yeah, we discuss it a lot, and you know, any of the latest updates, we always educate each other about what the law says and things like that. So, because we want to make sure that we do everything appropriately, and so yeah.
You know, it's weird because there's so much that's coming out. Bill 1264, which we need to circle back to, is one of the biggest things that we've talked about here for a long time. But if indeed this right to resist goes through, that could be a lasting, having a lasting effect, and in my mind is the most controversial thing that's coming out of there. I mean, you want your policemen to feel in control and safe, and that is just, it's incredible that they're even coming up with it. Can we circle back to 1264
Sure,
real
we can,
quick?
absolutely.
1264 is the bill that funds the Little Calumet River. You have been personally very active in traveling
downstate to talk to the legislature, yes.
To talk to the legislature, and if we can just summarize that, $45. Everybody in the Little Calumet River, if anybody's water goes to the Little Calumet, their house or their residential parcel is going to be $45. It's $360 for industrial, 180 for commercial,
and 90 for agricultural.
90 for agriculture. So everyone's going to put in is over $8 million. Is
my understanding is that's supposed to be out and set up so it'll be in the first draw, the May payments on the property taxes. So that money will be available later on this year for the Little Calumet River Commission to use.
Do you think that there are folks that are going to sleep better now that this is going forward along the river?
Well, I think it'll certainly help everyone, and it'll help the whole thing. But again, it'll get better once we have that money in place and we're able to start and implement these improvements and get these repairs done. It'll help each year when that comes around.
219-845-1100. Let's see what Earl says. Hey, Earl.
Hey, Jim, I'm enjoying your program. But you know what's really sad, and it's as a senior citizen now, it really behooves me that the police officers have to abide by more laws than the criminals do. I mean, you know, the Miranda Act, I mean, now this right to resist, I mean, how stupid does our nation have to become?
Sounds like you're upset over the right to resist.
I am, because you know what, here's a bad situation. Number one, how many times, and this is probably going to become more effective with domestics than it's going to become with anything else. Do the women call, and then all of a sudden when the police arrive, they have a change of heart, and they know, and here they're sitting with a battered lip. Now they're going to have to resist the wife, who's going to probably start fighting and get argumentative or combatant, along with the husband. With that, I'm going to hang up and listen to you guys make your retort. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Officer Geist. We already addressed it, but what about specifically for domestic situations?
Well, if we were at a house and, you know, and it looked like someone was injured or someone was in danger and stuff, police officers just have to use their best judgment. And, you know, if somebody's in danger, we're going to do the best we can to try to make sure that that person is safe. I mean, that's all I can say is that, you know, if I go to a house and there's somebody that looks like they've been battered inside and they're yelling for help and things like that, we're going to do our best to try to secure them and make sure that they're safe and to take appropriate action.
You know, if I could just go on to a kind of a tangential area there is we do have Sheriff Buncich in here on a regular basis, and he talks about the gang activity that is I guess reputation-wise is more limited to Gary, E.C., and Hammond, and but he talks about it spreading into the collar communities. What are you guys doing to combat that?
Well, what we do is we just try to talk to our kids at young ages and in the middle schools and things like that about telling them that we don't want to be afraid of that. There's very few people that we know of that are gang members that are actually that we know who they are and things like that live in our town. We're very fortunate that number is very low, and we want to keep it that way. We also do things through our field contact program. Our officers spend a lot of time chatting it up with people on the streets and making sure that people know that we are checking on people that are walking around and making sure that people who are walking around, walking their dogs and stuff, feel safe. If it is somebody who is in our town that is up to no good, we want them to know that the police are alert and that, you know, we're going to be aware of who they are. So we just try to let kids know that gangs are not the right way to go, and that the best thing that they can do is to hang out with positive people, do positive things, and that'll help keep them out of trouble.
Well, here we come to a decision here, Dave. We can go a little extra here. We're up against the time. I don't know if Officer Grice has to get back, but you have a full bank of 6 lines filled here. What do you want to do?
Well, let's take a few calls
Okay,
here.
let's go. We're going to take who's on now, but we won't take any new ones, so hang on. Okay, let's go to Jen on line 1. Hi, Jen.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for taking my call, and I don't know if either of you have the answer to this, since it sounds like the officer had to get back to the streets. Do you know who's backing that right to resist bill? It seems peculiar to me that with our Indiana Sheriff's Associations and all of the numerous organizations that police officers are members of, I'm just curious on how that even got legs, and if you know who is backing it, and has this worked in other states where it's been beneficial to the community and to the state as a whole?
You know what, Jen? I'll take that just a little bit. Alexis was in here on Friday, and we went into this in detail, and she brought up that there was a Supreme Court case that came down, and some guy in southern Indiana, and this law is basically in, I guess, an after effect of that Supreme Court decision, which she and several other lawyers were kind of critical of. So it's more of a legal thing than, I believe, any like specific agenda of any group. I think they're trying to correct some things in the law, and they may have overreached a little bit here.
Well, thanks for answering. I'm sorry I missed that show, and I was curious where it stemmed from. So thanks for.
You know what we'll do is maybe we'll try to give that a play during 2 to 4 today. All right.
I will look for it. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot.